All right, good news there to South Africans are paying a whopping 174 cents a litre for fuel today. And of course, some making estimates that they are saving for a 60 litre of a petrol tank from 900 to 600 or 500 rand. And of course, some are saying that, well, it doesn't really augur well with them because they may be having a full tank but not having anywhere to drive to. And because they are traveling around the country has also been hindered by the lockdown. And South Africans have been urged to stay home and to stay safe. Then they must keep on washing their hands regularly, as well as covering their faces with the cloth face mask and the likes. Well, as we continue with our program, the South African consumers are facing tough times ahead during the and after the lockdown, and some face unemployment while others could lose the goods that they've worked hard for. So what's going to happen when those who have not finished paying for their goods like cars or mortgage bonds and under insurance? Well, Sekgobola Thobakgale is a short-term insurance specialist at Refined, and he joins us. Thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you very much. Good seeing you, Colin. Been seeing many people lately.
Yeah. Well, firstly, how do insurance operate during the lockdown in as far as the security of assets is concerned and one having peace that they are secured?
So insurance would work normally. The most important thing would be the availability of their claims department, their servicing department, your broker, if you have a broker. But they are not entirely affected, except for when you have a claim. You might not have your vehicle being panel beated until those panel beaters are opened up to start working on cars. With geysers, I know for a fact that most insurance companies have been dealing with those as emergency type of claims that clients have, or rather essential claims that clients would have, and they would go and respond to geyser issues and stop water and get warm water going again.
All right, so there are different dynamics for workers. Some are permanently employed, others are on contract, and you have others who are freelancers. So when it comes to earnings, they may not have guaranteed salaries at the end of the month. So do insurance provide payment holidays, or they can perhaps pay less now and pay a full amount later?
There's a couple of options that are available. Short-term insurance in particular wouldn't be necessarily affected by the crisis, but the insurance companies have been quite prudent in their response to it. I mean, you've had insurance companies, for example, if I can mention, Discovery Insure has had, through their Vitality Drive program, have been able to not only reduce the amount of money that clients can, but also, made it a bit more relaxed in terms of clients meeting some of those requirements and in terms of to get more points. So they'll do that online instead. You've had other insurance companies giving clients 25% of the premium off. This has mainly been on the vehicle side of the insurance because, vehicles are being driven less. Some insurance companies have given 10%, which then once you paid your premium, that 10% is paid back to you as a relief. Some insurance companies which have got, rewards programs, they've used some of that money to pay towards the premium of the vehicle, especially in the month of May, where most of us would be overly hit by not being at work for a month or two.
So what happens when, like, for example, we've had SARS that there are companies that have indicated that they're not going to survive the lockdown and post-COVID-19, they won't be able to come back. So this is a clear and present danger for employees who are working for companies that are possibly going to be insolvent or face liquidation after this. So what's going to happen when it comes to medium-term planning, where you know that you're going to lose your house when you lose your job, you're not going to be able to keep your car, you won't be able to afford to pay for that. So what kind of arrangements do you have to make with the insurance when you can know that it's perhaps a foregone conclusion that you're going to lose what you've been working hard for?
I think the first thing that you want me to do is to be in contact if you have anything on HP, to be in contact with your creditors, make sure that they understand your situation in terms of, what is the downgrade in terms of your salary, or even if there's a loss of job. Of course, there's life policies that respond to situations like this where, you would have had to have bought yourself, loss of income type of insurance, which would respond to something like this. In terms of your short-term insurance, unfortunately, it is a new phenomena, and most of the time the short-term insurance would be affected when there's a catastrophe, when there's a big fire and there's many houses that would have been burned by that, or there was a tsunami, or there was, in the agricultural sector, if there's been locusts or any drought, things like that. That's where the short-term insurance policy would respond. But your life policy would then respond to your financial needs on a month-to-month basis in terms of paying or loss of income. The UIF would also respond. But most importantly, when it comes to short-term insurance, is to speak to your insurer or your broker to find out what are the sort of the risks that you can lower in order to still have adequate cover, but not pay as you pay. If you've got as you would normally pay. If you've got 2-3 cars, you can have the 2 cars on third-party fire and theft, and the car that you only use, you probably use 1 car if it's a family, to go to the shops and back. Most of the time, most of us don't, even if we have to drive to the shop, even in the township, we don't have more than 30 minutes to drive there, or more than 30 kilometers to drive there, thanks to the malls that have been built in close to our homes. So you try and be very, very careful in terms of the accidental damages to your vehicle. If you have downgraded your cover to the point where you're just covering for third-party damages, fire, and theft to your own car, if we speak about a car, for example.
All right, just lastly, some consumers are worried about their credit profiles if they have to surrender products or goods that they cannot pay for any longer. So what will this mean for their future credit worthiness?
I'm sure the financial industry will need to look at how they respond to issues of credit worthiness. Look at prior history. Have you been a reasonable person in terms of paying your and trusted person in terms of paying your dues, your debt. And during this time, I'm sure, and I've seen that most of them have been coming out into the radios and television to say that, if you speak to us and you have a situation where you're not earning what you have been earning, or you're not earning enough, is to talk to us and so that we can come up with some kind of arrangement. And with that in place, then it will also alleviate in terms of how much is allocated towards your short-term insurance, your life insurance, and so on. But the financial services sector's advisory, the FSCA, has been also quite engaging with the insurance companies to say that, if anything happens, they should be more lenient. I know in the life space, they've given people the opportunity to be able to say that, for the month that you have not paid, they should not treat that as uninsured. In the short-term insurance, you can pause your premiums in the meantime. You can reduce the cover that you have in terms of the value, or in terms of removing car hire, removing things that you don't need in order to try and make your cover as lean and as necessary as possible.
All right, we hope that after this, consumers won't be on the blacklist, and they won't experience some frustrations being sent from pillar to post when they have to remove their names from that list. But thank you very much for making time, and we'll speak to you next time.
Thank you very much.